Hi, I'm here with Eric Morris. He is an absolutely amazing coach, teacher, and actor. You're a life legend. Yes, you are. And I'm super, super honored to be here talking to you today. So thank you very much
Well, thank you.
for taking this time
Thank you.
and sharing your knowledge a little bit and your history
Mhm.
with Brazil,
Yeah, well, I have a lot of people who've come back and forth from Brazil to work with me here,
including me.
including you, right? Including you. Yeah, I have
That's right.
a girl in my class now, Jivanka.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's in. Yeah, I have a lot of people over the years just coming back and forth. Yeah.
And I know you worked a lot of with famous actors from Brazil too here in LA.
Well, you
With
mean
Rodrigo
Rodrigo?
Santoro, yeah.
Yeah, Rodrigo Santoro. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a good guy. I like
Yeah,
him.
good.
I worked with him a couple of times. I worked with him on the 300, the movie they called the 300, and then Annie's Got a Gun.
Oh,
That's the most recent thing
Yeah.
I worked with him on. Yeah, he's a hell of a good actor. He's a good
Good.
actor. Yeah.
good. So I and Brazil would like to know a little bit about your history, like how you end up where you are now. I know it's a long history because being like almost a century of things, but from you worked, you have almost like 100 plays, equity plays.
Well, not that many actually. That's a misquote. I've done about 50
50
equity plays, and then a couple of other community theater plays, but I guess around 50 equity
and
plays.
25 motion
Yeah,
pictures
25 and a lot of television. I think I've probably done about 100 films if you include the television thing, because I had two series. I was on two series. I did a syndicated series called Eyewitness to the Past. We did 39 segments of that. And then I was on the Phil Silver Show, which was a network show. I did some 3 or 4 episodes of that. I had a running part, but it turned out that they moved it from one venue to another. But I did about 3 or 4 of those, and about 100 films over the period of thing. But I've been teaching. This is my 61st year
Wow.
of teaching. So
It's more than half century.
yeah. Well, to give you a quick background, I was acting, and my teacher Martin Landau, who was worked with Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio, etc. He got a film, Cleopatra, and he was going to be gone for a year. So I was without a teacher, but he was the first teacher I ever found, even with all the other at Northwestern University, which I graduated from. He was the first teacher where I discovered a how. All my life I was looking for how. How do you do that? I would ask a multitude of teachers, well, yes, I know what you want, but how do you do that? They never could tell me. So, well, you ever could think about it, you remember it. That's not a process. That's not a process. That's not a how. So it really stimulated me to look, to work and find a how, to create the system I've created. I have 9 books on my system. Well, you know that, right?
Yeah. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, the reason was the missing link was the how. So I started to really look for how to create a how. How do you do that? And so over a period of 60 years, I've created a system that is very specific in both instrumental preparation and craft. I teach people how not to act. Instead of being an actor, which is a title, I teach them how to become professional experiencers, to experience what the character in the piece experiences. So I teach them how not to act, but to actually experience what the material, the author's intentions are. And so my work is divided into 2 areas, the instrument and the craft. What is the instrument? You are the instrument, the mind, the body, the voice, the emotion. If you were a pianist, your instrument would be a piano. If you were a violinist, the violin would be your instrument. You are your instrument as an actor. You are your instrument. So what I do is I do a lot of work to liberate the instrument to be free to act, getting rid of tension, fear, dependencies, emotional blocks, superstition, concept, leadership, all of the traps that most actors fall into, I help them to eliminate and alleviate. And at the same time, I teach a very specific process, a craft that addresses and fulfills material. So I have them identify the obligation of a piece, select a choice from their own living experience, and I have a process called choice approaches to create the choice. It's a very, very pragmatic and specific system that yields positive results.
And you have 31 choice approaches.
31 choice approaches, yes.
It's amazing. If you have never read about it, you should. And it's not your 9 books, they're not to be written, to be read my English, to be read, but like to really practice.
That's right, use.
The work works.
Studied and used, right.
Yeah.
My first book was No Acting Please. I wrote that in 1972 with the help of Joan Hotchkiss, who helped me put it on paper and challenged me, and I wouldn't have done it without her. That was my first book, and then I wrote 8 successive books. Being and Doing, Irreverent Acting, Acting from the Ultimate Consciousness, Acting, Imaging, and the Unconscious, Freeing the Actor, and my autobiography, which is the Diary of a Professional Experiencer.
Which I love.
But it's not just an autobiography, it's an acting book.
Yeah.
It's how all of this evolved, you know? Then I have a book called My Hollywood Stories, which is about actors, about directors, written by an actor, about other actors, directors, producers, studio moguls. It's a fun read.
You have the Freeing the Actor too.
Freeing the Actor. That was my last acting book that I wrote. No, it wasn't my last book. I forget.
Was
Freeing the Actor.
2011. I think you released that book.
Yeah, my last book was called Second Chance at Life, which was for actors and everybody else in the world. It was for everybody, not just actors. Second chance at life, and it really gives you a second chance at life.
It's repairing the damage.
Repairing the damage that we experienced growing up. So I will say this, it may sound a little egotistical, it's not. Really, it isn't an ego trip. This is the first complete, that's a very important word, new system in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Since Stanislavski. But you see, he stopped. And without him and without Lee Strasberg, there would be no Eric Morris. However, I've gone beyond them in the evolution of the process. So I owe it to them as the foundation and beyond the foundation. But even Stanislavski says his system is not complete. But I think this is a complete system. I keep learning and keep adding to it, but I think as it is, it's a complete system.
Which I can't wait for your next book.
Yeah, which I'm writing now, called The Actor's Other Selves, using sub-personalities as a major acting tool. That's my next book, and I'm writing it now. That'll be number 10.
Yeah.
So busy. I teach 3 classes, part of the intensive, and the Jamborees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to come, you're always welcome to come to the studio.
Absolutely.
You can email Eric, you can follow him on Facebook.
I have a website, ericmorris.com.
You have a website, I know, I guess. See the videos, he has a lot of YouTube videos with a lot of things about his
there are a lot of videos on YouTube, maybe about 20, where I talk about the system, the work, and describe it in a variety of areas like choices and approaches and instrumental preparations. So on YouTube, there's about 20 different 5 to 7 minute videos.
Well, I'll tell from my experience, was my dream to meet you. Mm-hmm. And so I met you the first time in 2012 in New York in your signing book, Freeing the Actor, and then you taught a workshop there, which I took.
Yeah, I used to go there every other week for 3 years.
I know.
I had the American New Theater, and I would do a weekend workshop every other weekend for 3 years. That was twice. Woke up one morning and I didn't know where I was until I heard the horns beeping. I said, "Oh,
no, I'm in
New York."
Yeah, and then I found out about the Jamboree, and I finally came in 2017, and then I got addicted to it because it's the most gorgeous place to be, and we've been working
Up
20.
in Lake Arrowhead, yeah, it's great.
Like
up
we
there.
work like 19 hours, 20 hours almost a day. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
A day.
A day. That's right. A day.
So
for
the
a
whole thing
week.
is not just all, you know.
It's for one day. It's like 15,
Yeah,
19.
it's
I think
great.
the last time we worked like 19 hours. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, it's pleasantly exhausting.
Yeah, that's right. That's a
Because
good way to
you
say
get a
it.
lot from it. My wife teaches also. She does a lot of Skype work with people working on
And she's
movies and
wonderful.
television series, and she does most of the Jamboree, and she does most of the intensive, and she's brilliant.
She is.
Susanna is absolutely fantastic. Does the work. She has her own following, and she works with people on movies and television series on Skype. You know?
I'm gonna get an interview with her too.
Oh, yeah,
I have
she's-
to arrange that.
No, she's terrific. She's terrific. So
Yeah.
anybody who's coming here, I teach my classes, my 3 classes. I teach that solo by myself, but we work together in the Jamboree. We work together in the intensive, and so we're a collaboration, you know. But I do teach my classes. She does her own work on Skype, and she does most of the intensive and most of the Jamboree. I do maybe 35% of each.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of coaching with her on Skype.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
I'm
she
in
does
Brazil.
private. She
Yeah, she
teaches
does
privately.
Yeah, privately. Yeah.
Right, so that's really
Wonderful.
good. So there's the how. How do you do
Yeah.
it? How do you do it? I teach you the how, and it is a complete system. It's divided into the 2 parts, the instrument and the craft, and I work to liberate people from their problems, their blocks, their obstacles, the damage that they've had growing up. Because they can't act from a damaged place, and you can't act from an obstacle place. So freeing the actor is what we do, you know. So
It's a technique full of tools that not just for an actor, but also to be a happy person.
yeah, well, there's no separation
Yeah.
between living and acting. The work really changes people's lives. It's profoundly life-changing because we strip away all of the blocks and the obstacles and the fear and the tension and the anxiety and the self-esteem issues. Most actors, most people suffer from a lack of self-esteem and self-worth and entitlement. And this work elevates self-esteem and self-acceptance, and that's what it's about.
So from all of your experience, if you want to give one tip that for these people to carry with them, what would it be?
Training. Training. If you were going to be a brain surgeon, you'd have to go through high school, medical school, and specializing in surgery. It would take years and years to become a brain surgeon. Well, the same. The journey to become an artist is the same, you know. Training. You have to find a way to enjoy the training. I'll tell you a quick story, which
Yeah, I love stories.
which totally supports what I'm saying. I've worked with a lot of champions. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a Mr. Olympia. Now he's acting. I worked with him as an actor. Beyond You was a Taekwondo artist and professional. Eric Lee, Little King of Kung Fu. I worked with Joe Louis, a kickboxer. I worked with a lot of champions. Champions. They were at the top of their profession. I asked them one question. I said, how do you become a champion? What are the ingredients to becoming a champion? They all gave me the same answer. You have to fall in love with the training. You have to fall in love with the training. Baryshnikov, the ballet dancer, is if I desert my training for one day, it takes me 4 days to get back to where I was when I didn't do that day.
That's right.
So training, commitment, the journey. The journey is the reward. The journey is the reward. There's no other way to become an artist except to make a commitment. You're an actor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, four weeks a month, and 12 months a year. There's not a day or a minute that you're not an actor, that you're not in some kind of consciousness of training and working and discovering and learning and growing. The three-letter word, that's the most important word in the acting and creative dictionary, how. H-O-W. How do you do that? And if you can't answer that question, you don't know. If you can't answer how, you don't know. I teach the how.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right, you do. Thank you very much.
You're
It was
welcome.
a great pleasure.
It's a pleasure to do this.
Yeah.
I
it's a
hope
pleasure.
the people in Brazil will enjoy it. And if you have any questions, they can contact me
Yeah, and you
on
can
my website.
Yeah, you can contact on the website. They have the email there. Also, you can buy the books from the website.
Yeah, Amazon.
Amazon and
Mhm.
Apple Store. I bought
Yeah.
some on Apple Store
Yeah,
too.
so you get them
I
all
have
over.
everything. I have like copybooks and I have online too.
Oh,
I bought
great.
both versions. When
Terrific.
I travel, I can still
Well,
have
thank you for this opportunity, and I love the people in Brazil.
Thank
Okay?
you. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you soon.